And that's, when we talk about that, we're talking about an interpretation of that word that isn't about a being that has agency, that isn't about a being that can act. And so a non-theistic God is a sense of, sometimes I say it's what lifts your heart in love or drop kicks you with conscience. Like Carter Hayward talks about the lurch in her stomach when she witnesses oppression or injustice, and she calls that God. That would be a non-theistic understanding.
So it's nothing beyond a human construction.
Yes,
human
it's a human experience. It's not a supernatural thing. Now there may be some who would use non-theistic to still describe something supernatural, like a spiritual force that acts or accessing,
something that's impersonal.
something that's beyond natural. I expect when we come to understand what it is that causes that lurch in our stomachs, that it'll be something natural.
Yeah. So
I don't know what did that though.
I'm actually like an evangelical, like gasp, and I just in the context of your talk at the beginning, you predicated the whole thing on the belief that the Bible is not the authoritative word of God,
right.
and a whole set of beliefs really, and that's fine, and I'm not going to debate that or anything here, and I don't intend to. I just want to know, in your own journey, in your own quest for spirituality or not, where did more conservative scholarship, as you might call it, ever enter into that, as a consideration? Because it seems to me that in the course of your education, and I don't know your history or anything, you kind of found yourself in a theological college that had very liberal leanings,
yep.
And I was just wondering how much consideration the other side were you given? I mean, because I've personally read a whole bunch of it, and I'm here experiencing the other side, and I just wanted to know where those considerations entered into your presuppositions that are carrying you forward.
Right. I haven't done a lot of current contemporary evangelical reading. I did do some when I was at theological college, but I must admit that those were mostly the books that ended up on the other side of the room, because they they were based upon a worldview that was not replicated around me. The realities of life that people were coping with could not fall easily into that picture, and so I found myself judging that picture because of my own personal life experience and the experience that I saw happening in the world around me. So that, more I think than the liberal scholarship, was what made me question. The liberal scholarship allowed me to stay within the church.
My one concern with that is that without having really had the other picture painted for you, how can you say that what you're seeing around you in terms of how people live, how believers live even, doesn't fit into that picture that perhaps you haven't really had a fantastic glimpse of?
Well, I actually have evangelical Christians in my family, and I have considerable exposure to their perspective, and have a lot of respect for their personal experience of God. I don't have that personal experience of God in the way that they do, and I can't deny their personal experience, so that their personal experience animates their faith journey. My personal experience animates my faith journey, and those are the two different things that we go on. So in our congregation, we have people who would not be considered charismatic Pentecostal Christians, but they're very traditional in their understandings of Christianity.
I guess I was meaning scholarship more than...
Perhaps we should continue this line of discussion after the formal Q&A, if that's okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I will have only one question, because I am not so articulate like another gentleman who before me, therefore I won't take so much time. First, I would like to apologize. I didn't read your book.
Oh, that's-
Yeah, but I won't apologize if I will be sounding a little bit rude if I sometimes ask the question. First, I was going to ask the question what this gentleman was asking about religion, but he already asked them for. We understand that you don't believe in a God as a being, and you don't believe in a Bible as a literal explanation of the situation what is basically was happening. Therefore, you basically believe that what I believe as a Jew, that we Jewish people, when we wrote the Bible, we are very good bullshitters. We know what to write. Okay, and for my question, what left is basically my question, considering that Bible or the Christianity is basically based on a Bible, how can you call yourself a progressive Christian?
Because I think that any faith tradition has to be dynamic and needs to be responsive to the culture in which it finds itself. So if Christianity had done that, from like the first revelation that the universe does not revolve around the earth, if it had constantly assessed its beliefs, what it was presenting doctrinally, against what was being presented to it through the experience, the scholarship, the understanding, our growing awareness of the world and how it worked and how we biologically worked and fit within that, then we would have been increasing our understanding, changing our doctrines, changing the ways that we expressed ourselves. And we would have, right now, I think, be right where I am. Like we'd be this would be the middle of the road. It's only because we rejected that scholarship and rejected our experience, rejected much of what we understood and saw the world being in order to maintain a worldview that had been created at a time when that was what held us together. And we became so convinced that we had to maintain that worldview that we rejected within the church everything else that we knew outside. So I think Christianity, I think every faith tradition needs to progress. And I think that unfortunately, we're progressing in about 6 centuries, all of a sudden. But I don't think it needed to have been like that. I think we could have done it.
But you are
Step
not
by
answering
step.
the question. I have to ask. I'm Jewish, therefore I ask everything with a question. You are talking, what are you talking about? I am saying Christianity is based on a Bible. If you don't have it, if you don't have a Christ, if you don't have a God, there is no Christianity. If you don't have 3 days after somebody woke up and went to the heaven, there is no Christianity. Therefore, my question is again, what I am hearing here, I said, I don't want to apologize that I'm going to be rude. Number one, you are using a community word. You are trying to separate certain group of people from human beings because you are saying we are Christians, religious or not religious. Therefore,
I'm
you are
not going to
somebody.
defend that word for very long.
Yeah, no, but I
think we
mean,
need to move
you are
beyond
using
that
word community. The community, Muslims are using a community. There, they basically blow
Yeah,
up a
you're
few
right.
buildings.
You're
Jewish people, I call them religious freaks. They set up a community and they are killing other people. Muslim, Christians, everybody's killing them. For we are separating because somebody
Can you
is
say your
saying,
question, sir?
oh, I'm sorry. No, my apologies. No, now I'm apologizing because I get basically, you didn't answer that how you
Okay.
can use your word Christian
Because
still.
I use the word Christian because this is the next iteration, the next evolution of where liberal mainline Christianity needs to go. The next one is not going to have the word Christian. But in order to bring the church along here, we need to use that label. It's like the neon sign saying, it's okay to come this way. And we'll use that in order to engage the community to move in that direction. But I hope that in the next generation, we won't use any of those labels because we'll be able to come to a table and speak to each other about being human and honoring and recognizing the other's humanity. And that will be the only creed that we need to live by.
Maybe a little bit rude. Thank you very much for your answer. My father was a Catholic priest. My mother is Jewish. Therefore I call myself a Jew. My father at least, he was a hypocrite. He left the priesthood because what you were studying in a school, he studied in
Right,
a school.
absolutely.
40, 50, I am 60, therefore 70 years ago, 80 years ago. Then for why you want to stay, be a hypocrite.
But I'm not being a hypocrite because we live with utter integrity.
My apologies, I'll
So
stop
thank
here,
you.
you know, there are other people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I guess it's sort of a follow-up question, but not the same. I guess then, do you believe that human logic, human understanding, the power of the human mind always trumps the idea of concept of faith?
Well, it depends what you mean by the word faith. I mean, I have faith in things because I've watched them replicated over and over again. And so I build faith in that way. I have faith in the human endeavor. I have faith in life. I have faith that ultimately there is more good in a room of people than there is evil. Can I prove that with my mind or rational thought? No. But where do I come from that? How do I get there? That I don't know. That's my inner urge toward life and toward that which is good. I could be proven wrong in a blink, but I still walk into a room with that faith.
Okay, I guess the idea of human logic and human understanding and the power of the human mind, does it always trump the idea of like the inexplicably transcendental? Like things that seem unimaginably inexplicable, can they always be figured out over time?
I have no idea. I mean, I am not. I don't like some of the more strident atheists. I'm not willing to say that if I don't understand it, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
I don't know how things happen. A lot of stuff, and so I honor that they do, and I honor. If someone wants to interpret that it happened in that particular manner because of that particular thing, then I will honor their articulation of how they came to understand that happening in their lives. Would I then translate that and say, because that happened for this person, it is going to happen for you? No, I wouldn't say that. So if someone believes that they have been healed because of prayer from a particular illness or difficult situation in their lives, will I then say to this person, look, they prayed regularly and they did it this way, so it's going to work? No, I don't try to, I won't ascribe efficacy to particular practices if I don't know that that's going to happen. When people in my congregation have had visitations from people that they loved after they have died or something like that, that's an awesome experience for them. Does that mean that I'm going to see somebody, or that I should tell someone who's losing their loved one that it's okay, they'll come and see? I don't know if that's going to happen. I certainly wouldn't promise it to someone. So will we eventually come to understand these things? I have no idea. We'd probably wipe ourselves out long before we'll figure that out. But if we do, I think that there will probably be some natural phenomenon at work rather than a supernatural.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
This will be our last question for this period.
Can I one more?
And I wonder if you could share with us the reaction of your fellow United
Just stick around after.
Church ministers, particularly since the publication of your book. I know this is an evolving story and we don't have the final answers yet, but are you able to share a little bit with us? Who's against you, who's with you?
Well, it's been an interesting challenge because the conversations about God and what God is and about the evolution of Christianity dried up significantly after the creation of the Canadian Center for Progressive Christianity, because I was then out there as, believing in this particular understanding. And that sort of concerned some of my colleagues. Some of them will make eye contact with me yet, and that's very promising. A lot of them are just really uncomfortable with what I'm saying because they don't know what to do. Like, quite honestly, what do you do? You're stuck. Your congregation is now made up of a lot of the people who are thinking people who have thought, the people who have employed their thought to move themselves outside of the box of traditional Christianity have left because they don't want to translate, they don't want to do all that stuff, so they've left. Congregations have aged because younger people engage the world in ways that churches don't do. They just don't create opportunities for kids or young people to engage. So you're left with an aging group of people who have a comfortable worldview, you're offering them the deconstruction of that worldview, which is a very threatening thing, and they don't know what to do with that. Some of them think that their whole job is to interpret the Bible, and if you take that away from them, what are they supposed to do? Challenging a congregation to live in that radically ethical manner, in right relationship with one another, regardless of what their beliefs are, is work enough to keep me busy. I'm very busy doing that. And my hope is that by introducing that to my colleagues, they will have some security moving in that direction. One of the congregations close to us, where several of the members of our congregation, those who actually were on the forefront of the progressive movement of the congregation for most of the time, who recently left because that last little piece about me not being willing to say that when they die they're going to meet up with their family members. I don't know if they will, but I'm not willing to say that. And those last little pieces, when they finally fell into place, they realized they couldn't accept that worldview. And they've gone to another local congregation, and that clergy person has said, the only reason you can be here and be comfortable is because of what you did in your other congregation, because we've moved the boundaries now. So he's able to do in his congregation way more than he was able to do before, because we've been out there on that bleeding edge, and it's called a bleeding edge for a purpose. We're out there creating space for other people to come behind us, and that's what I hope that we're able to do over time.
Are there other United Church ministers who have openly identified with the Canadian Center for Progressive Christianity?
Congregations are happier to put up a rainbow than they are to identify themselves as progressive Christian congregations at this point in time. It's true. A few of them have. And since the book has come out, actually a few more have identified themselves than previously. But mostly they were just kind of scared. And they're afraid that they'll get mass exodus of people. And that my colleague who now has all these people from my congregation, I mean, it's being reinforced for everybody in that church. If you change anything, everybody's going to leave. Because look, it happened to Gretta. Everybody left. So I worry for him, because he would probably go further than he's gone right now. But I think that people are ready to engage that conversation. And if I've said several times, if I got hit by a truck, nothing's going to stop this conversation at this point in time. It is out there. And the church and people in it are going to have the conversation.
Okay. I think we're going to have to conclude. No, I'm sorry, we are going to.
Yeah, it's 9, sorry. I answered too long.
Gretta will be remaining for a bit, I think, to sell some of her books and sign them, so you can ask her some quick questions at that point. And I'm sorry we have to cut things off, but it is 9 o'clock, that's our typical ending time. Just a few quick words. I do remind you that, as usual, we'll put your admission to a membership if you enjoy the event and you'd like to take up a membership. We have events coming up in the next couple of months. We will be doing our, for the summer, we're kind of switching things. We're going to have pairs of speakers over the next couple of months, and as I mentioned, a summer party, which we invite you to. And I just want to put an appeal out. We are busy founding centers and communities and student groups. We have a conference that we're going to at CFI headquarters next month. If any of you are feeling especially generous and you want to contribute financially to this growth, please talk to me, and we would very much appreciate that. I want to formally thank Gretta for sharing the outline of her book with us, and of course you can read more about it in the book itself, which I'm sure Gretta would be happy to sell to you. Gretta was sort of caught between a bunch of rowdy atheists and some evangelicals tonight, so I think she deserves a round of applause, and thank all of you for coming. One last word, the cost of the book, I'll just remind you, it's $29. We are offering a discount to members, to CFI members at $25. And if you'd like to take out a membership or renew your membership today, that's $20, so just as an added incentive. So again, thank you so much for attending. We hope to see you again at CFI.
I have one more question.